course, some people might wonder why you would swing trade versus buying, holding, and buying mutual funds or index funds. And here's an example of the power and the potential of swing trading versus just buy and hold or buying the overall market. We started a new strategy, launched a new strategy back in 2012 for folks that just don't have time for technical analysis and don't have time to swing trade day in, day out, but they've got 15 minutes per week on Fridays to trade. And so we developed a strategy where people can just spend 15 minutes per week on Fridays and just buy and hold the top 3 stocks in the market based on our fundamental and technical research on the stocks to hold for the following week. This is a swing trading strategy where you buy and hold a stock for maybe on average a week and a half to 2 weeks. And as you can see, the performance over the long term has been much greater than the S&P 500. So this kind of gives you the difference between making, in this case, 40%, over 40% per year for 5 years versus the market return, which for the S&P 500 was 11% per year. You can see that the S&P 500 before fees in an index fund, if you had $30,000 to start with, your money would have grown to, I think, just over $50,000 before fees and fees and any commissions and so forth. And with this approach, the swing trading approach, which doesn't use any technical analysis after you enter the trade. There's more powerful technical strategies I'm going to teach you in this course, but you can see the difference between 40% plus per year over 5 years versus just 11% per year with the S&P 500. Okay, so this took the account, multiplied it by 6 with compounding over a 5-year period versus the compounding with the S&P 500 over 6 years, which was just $50,000, would have made you $20,000 on that $30,000 versus the $150,000 on the swing trading strategy. Okay, so that's the difference between making over 40% per year versus, in this case, 11% per year with the S&P 500 over the past 5 years. Now that is actually a very good performance for the S&P 500, 11%. I think the average is about 9%, so it's a little above average. Most experts are predicting that in the future to expect lower returns because of higher debt and lower economic growth and other factors. So more and more people are looking at swing trading as a way to achieve a higher rate of return, and you only have to put a small portion of your overall portfolio into a strategy, a good swing trading strategy. Okay, and if you make that kind of return, you will do very, very well and be very well off in the long term, regardless of what you start with. Okay, so that's the power of making a higher rate of return than the market averages, and that's what makes swing trading so powerful and so valuable to know and understand and use. Okay, so I just wanted to show that to you as an example of what an account would do at a higher rate of return of over 40% per year versus 11% per year. Now this is just 1% per week. That's all this is. Actually less than that. You can see that if we extend this for another 5 years, this was a 6-bagger in 5 years. If we have another 6-bagger, well, that's going to be 6 times what this amount is, which will be over $1 million in 10 years. So going from 30,000 to $1 million versus 30,000 to maybe $80,000 or $90,000, I'm not sure offhand, but down here versus being way off the charts up here at $1 million, starting with just $30,000. So that's the power of making a higher rate of return on your money in the aggressive portion of your overall portfolio. Now, I don't do this with my entire portfolio, but I've got a good chunk of my portfolio, probably about a third of my portfolio in the strategy because I know it, I believe in it, I know that it works very, very well. You want to start off with a small portion of your overall portfolio in whatever strategy you choose, but this is, if you start off with a small amount, even less than this, you can do extremely well over the long term, and that's the power of a higher rate of return that you can achieve with swing trading. You can even do better than this with the strategies that I'm going to teach you in this course with a lot of discipline, and if you learn them very well and you execute them very well. That's the end game. That's why you're listening to this course and learning swing trading and good strategies and learning and refining your techniques over time, which does take time.